Okay, can you come over a little bit more? Wait for some people to come out. Hi guys, how you doing today? Again, I'm going to say this is not Sunday tea, but this is a topic that needs to be addressed. This is a topic that last night I had a live, and in my live I spoke to a gentleman that went through quite an ordeal coming to Canada, not knowing the ins and outs and the roughness of this country. So we're here tonight. He called, we spoke last night on the phone, and he was very adamant and wanted to share his story with us. So here we are today with Sunday Tea, Althea from Sunday Tea. And here we have Damien. Hi, say hi, Damien, to the people out there.
Hi, everybody.
So Damien is a gentleman that is from Jamaica, born and raised. Hi, Miranda, how you doing? Born and raised, came to Canada in 2014 in Winnipeg area. Damien, you want to tell them a little bit of how you came about coming to Canada and how you got to Winnipeg, and we'll start it off like that.
Alright, so basically, hello everyone, my name is Damien Bucket, the youngest of 6. I'm born and bred in Jamaica. I came to Canada in 2014 through marriage. I met my wife when I was working at a non-name mentioned hotel in Jamaica, because everybody probably on the feed would probably recognize me. So I worked at this resort. I met my wife there. We got married in 2012. I came to Canada in 2014. Coming to Canada in 2014, it was esteemed that, you know, everything would have been good. But then when I came to Canada, I realized the mist beneath the cloud.
So, as we say again, a lot of people that are coming from Caribbean countries or third world country from around the world believe that they're coming into a country that is a bed of roses. Yes. That's what they're saying. They're coming for better. But at the end of the day, most of them come into hell. That's what I'm going to call it. Not that I'm saying that Canada isn't a good place.
It is.
It is a good place. But if you don't know the ins and the outs, if you don't know your rights, and if you don't know where to go and who to look for, you run into all kind of problem that will put your head
in circles.
So this is why we're here tonight, to try to educate some of the immigrants that are here, or people that just come to Canada and don't know where to go, where to look, how to find, so they can avoid some of this situation that Damien has fell into. You know, which is not, it was really sad. And this is such a strange story, because I'm going to continue to let you guys know that this was meant to happen because of the way that everything happened. It's crazy. Wait a minute, you guys. So Damien entered into Winnipeg. Now, Damien, did you come here with your wife, or did you come after the wife?
I came here, well, my wife lived here. She's white Canadian, so
yes.
They lived there. So I came here to meet them. So yes. They picked me up at the airport.
Okay, yes. Absolutely. So the wife was already here, and Damien came, and they picked him up at the airport. Now he's going to start his life that he thinks is one of the biggest one of the biggest. You think you just win the jackpot, right?
Yes.
That's what he thought. Anyways, his wife picks him up. I'm going to let him explain a little bit to you what happened, and then I can jump in here and there. So after that, tell them.
All right, so basically I came here on the 14th of May 14th of May. Or, yeah. Went to the airport, landed in Winnipeg airport. I saw the crib, and my son, he was there, and he has signed a baby, you know, on the crib it says.
Okay, so you saying now, when you came, your wife came back from Jamaica pregnant.
Yes.
So she's back from Jamaica pregnant for you.
Yeah, because we planned it. It's something that we planned.
Okay, so we want to let the people know that it's something that you planned.
Something that we planned.
Okay, go on. So his wife is pregnant, and he's here, and he's in La La Land for now. Okay, go on.
Yeah, so basically I was offered a management position at a new resort that was open, and then immigration called me as that resort opened, and they were like, it's time for you to go to Canada. I'm like, you know, I'm not ready, I said. But as soon as my wife gave me the news that she's pregnant, I'm like, it's time for me to go. Because one of the best things for me, like, I always want to be a father. I always wanted kids. So when I landed in Manitoba, I saw the crib and everything, and tiny baby, and on the crib it writes, "Welcome home, Dad." And you know, when I went down there, I hugged my wife, my mother-in-law, and some other friends were there with signs, and it was all good.
So can you imagine how great that is? That you came to Canada and you had your son and you hugged your son and your wife is here. Everything looks great. You know, you have a start of a better life.
Yeah.
So continue the story. Drama.
So basically, basically what happens when I leave the airport, one of the things is that we went to a restaurant and we were there, and it was so cool because, you know, it's Manitoba, it's different. It's my first time. I've never left Jamaica ever. I've gotten visas and to go to various countries, but I didn't take the opportunity to go. So on my way there, we went home and everything was good. Like, I'm home with my wife and my child. You know, sleepless night. I would post on Facebook, me and him. He's awoke and my wife is sleeping. So anyway, within 2 or 3 weeks after I started sending out job application, and I'm not somebody who's lazy. I believe in working. So once I got here.
So what he's trying to say, after the honeymoon stage is over, reality is going to kick in today. So we're kicking into the reality now. Go on, Damien.
So I sent out some resumes and I did not get any calls. So I started, the way Canada is situated, there's a lot of business places where you live. Right, so I went there in my jacket suit, my Jamaican tie, and everybody was impressed, and I still didn't get a job. And I was just never settled. Like, I would have cried every single morning when I get up. I'm like, I need to find something to do. I need to find something to do. Because I'm a provider. Since I've been younger, I've been providing for my other siblings. So it was really a shock. And then finally, I got about 2 or 3 calls. I got calls from Subway, calls from a hotel downtown in Winnipeg.
So don't let me cut you. I want to state too, not all Jamaicans that don't want to work. I know a lot of them that come here and they work hard and they want to work. I mean, there's a few people that don't want to work, but majority of them want to work. They're used to hard working. And I just want to state that because a lot of people think they're lazy, but they're not. There's really good hard working Jamaican men and women. Continue, sweetheart.
Yeah, so basically I got hired, my first job. I was pushing my son on the path, and I saw a school, and I went over there with him to get him changed, and I'm like, "Are you guys hiring?" And the teachers, the director said to me, "You know, we're looking for somebody to deal with a child with special needs." And I'm like, you know, back home I dealt with a child with special needs. He was from England, and the school that I started, the school that I worked at, I had to control him. So anyway, I give it a shot, and the director said to me, "You know what, you start tomorrow." And I went back home feeling so happy. So my first job was working in a military daycare back in Winnipeg. And
so you kind of explained to them as well that you came from a very high profile in Jamaica. It wasn't that you just came off the street in Jamaica and came to Canada. You were a very, very educated man with all kind of diplomas and so on and so forth.
Yes, so therefore back in Jamaica I was here very, as Altheas, I was very highly recommended. Everybody in where I'm from, in terms of, I'm originally from Kingston, but then my mom died when I was 9, moved to St. Mary, then to St. Anne. Everybody will know me because I'm a director for my pageants back home in Jamaica. So the mayor know me, the member of parliament know me, the prime minister know me. Everybody knows me in Jamaica because of what I do. And
I have a picture of him and the prime minister to prove that. And they're pretty darn close, so that couldn't just be a joke. So we'll continue to go on, sweetheart.
Yeah, so therefore, through my pageants and through this this pathway, my wife, because my ex-wife, I should say, she's white Canadian, so she has a free leverage in Jamaica where I live. She could be on the street any hours a night and nobody would say anything or do or anything because of my safe pass.
So what we're saying is, when a Caucasian lady goes to Jamaica, they're treated with the utmost respect.
Yes.
And when you came to Canada in Winnipeg, what did you get treated and how did you feel? What did you get out of it?
Well, you know, to be honest, she was there in the time when I didn't have a job.
Yes.
And, you know, she would have comforted me. But probably when I started working now, not jumping the gun, my mother-in-law got a little bit upset because I was not visiting her as often as when I wasn't working. So what she had expected, that's my mother-in-law, probably for me to be on the couch as a potato couch for a year or so before I got into any job.
Or maybe that was a control thing. Were they looking to control you? Because I feel that
that's exactly what was.
It's not a black or a white thing. Women love to control.
Yes.
So maybe they were trying to control it. If you don't have any money, then you can't make decisions for yourself or do anything.
And they saw the demeanor, but they know that they wouldn't have the chance to do that because I was never like that back home in Jamaica. You know, I respect female, both male and female, but they wouldn't have the chance to control me. So therefore, not jumping the gun. So being there in Canada, we're living like husband and wife. You know, her time to babysit, my time to babysit. And one night my ex-wife said, oh, we want to go to the club. I'm like, I'm not interested in going to a club. We just have a baby. We need to spend time. So anyway, a couple of weeks after that, I kind of noticed that she stopped coming home. So I haven't seen my son for approximately 2 months being here in Canada.
So where was your son? If you're at home and you live with your wife, why would you not see your son?
Because they are home. She's at her mother's house.
Okay, so
because she can't deal with the crying and the constant changing of diapers. So, and it's her first child. And my wife is very young. We got married when my wife was 22, 23.
Okay.
So she does not have this experience. But I, on the other hand, I'm quite the experienced type because my mom died when I was 9. I grew with my sister, so I know to change a nappy. I know to comb hair, I know to plait. So I was taking care of my son like that.
So you know how to do everything. So.
I know how to do everything.
So now, so we know what happened in Winnipeg, and what leads you up to be. Okay, what happened in Winnipeg after she started not coming home and the babies, because it's looked like she's now was such a sweet woman and now she's taking a turn. So
basically what happened would probably trigger this off. So she wasn't coming home and I was at home at this apartment by myself. So to cut, we want you to understand where I'm coming from. So my wife had a friend who was living with her, very nice girl. She rent one of the room because we had a flat, and you know, in Canada, people bunch to make the rent cheaper.
Okay.
Right? And my ex-wife would have treated this girl like garbage. And I would have said to her, you can't treat her like that. When nobody was moving in with you, she was the one who moved in. She came to our wedding in Jamaica and she broke her leg.
So what it is the lady was a good friend of hers.
She was a good friend of hers.
And she was treating her funny.
From ever since, my wife bullied this child even in high school. Okay. And she still ended up sharing an apartment with her just because of me. She wanted me to come up. And I wasn't going to live with my mother-in-law because I knew what she wanted. And I didn't want that for myself.
Okay.
So, therefore, one evening I went home and I kind of walked on the long street. And then I reached the house, but I didn't go in. I sat out for a while, but they didn't see me. And I saw them start moving stuff out. So I'm like, what is happening? If she's moving out, what is going to happen to me? So there and then I just stood back on what was happening. So the type of person I am, I'm very good, I'm very friendly, and I'm very respected. So I met an African guy who actually introduced me to the Radisson Hotel downtown Winnipeg. He was the one who got me that job as a valet. So I was working as a bellhop, right? And then
hi, Christopher.
And then working as the bellhop, and I spoke. He has a wife. He has a Caucasian wife too, very nice. And they took me, you know, she showed me the rope. He teaches me how to drive and stuff, you know. And then I said to him, I don't know. I see like my wife is moving out, and I don't know what's happening because she's not coming home. I'm not seeing her. I'm not seeing the child. So anyway, I found I moved out. I moved out before I knew because I didn't want to be ending up paying $1,500 for a condo that I know I could not afford.
Okay, so she moved out. She didn't give you no kind of inclination. She didn't tell you what was going on.
No.
She took the baby and she moved out. So after she moved out, did you continue to work and get a place? You had a place with somebody else?
Yes.
And you continue to work?
Yes.
Okay, so how did you end up leaving Winnipeg to come to Calgary?
All right. So basically, what I did, I went to legal aid because I belt and held that this child is mine, right? But stick a pin. Before I came to Jamaica, before I came to Canada, I told my big sister that my wife was pregnant, and my big sister told me that she doesn't think that child is mine because there's no way, if my wife is pregnant, she would have known so quick. But then I'm confused because it's something that I'm a very romantic guy, so I planned my roses, we had our champagne, we had a very bombastic night.
So what I'm saying, so what you're saying is, not only did you come into a country that you know nothing about, a country where there's no family and friends.
None.
Your wife moved out and left you. She took a baby that wasn't his. He tricked her. Jacket, sorry, whatever you want to call it. And then left you pretty well outside on the street by yourself.
Yes.
Now, this is a woman that you married.
Yes.
So, did you not know the lady? Did you not know nothing about her?
I know my wife from she was 15.
From 15. Okay, so obviously your wife must have tricked you some other way, because there's no way that somebody that marries somebody and knows somebody for such a length of time would do something so drastic, right?
Well, wait, it gets even more interesting. So after I moved out, I went and see custody. So when I went to see custody, I was afforded a lawyer by the province of Manitoba.
Okay.
So when I went to court, I was belt in that this child is mine. So now I went to court and I said, I'd like to see custody for my child with a lawyer. She didn't have a lawyer. She stood up in the court with over 25 people and said that she would like me to do a paternity test. So my lawyer wasn't there at the time because he had several other cases. So I had to say to the judge, I will do the DNA test. But always in the back of my head, I remember, because my big sister told me that this child was not mine. And of course, the child looks like me and everything from in the womb. So now, when I did the DNA test, I was still living in Manitoba and everything at this point in time. The same young miss who she treated like a dog, she was the one who, that was the family, and I can call their name Tasia and Dave and Tammy. They were the ones who helped me. The bed that Tasia had in the house, that was the bed I had. I never slept on the street or in my car. When I moved out, I lived on the south side of Winnipeg. And if those who live in Winnipeg know that the south side is the worst place to live in Manitoba. That's where all the killing and the shooting happens.
So the reason for this live, you guys, is a lot of people are coming from different countries, third world country, where they find that they're coming into Canada to find a better life, to have a better life, you know, have a wife, have some children, and be successful. And most people get here and they end up on the street, believe it or not. They really do. They end up on the street, or they end up around their own kind that take them for granted, that overcharge them in rent, overcharge them in prices. They can't find anywhere to live. Actually, a lot of guys, I've known 2 guys that were here that used to come down to the store and cut, and they lived in the Southwest and they had to take a bus. Their story went like this. By the time they got paid from their workplace, they had to pay their landlord $1,000 for the rent for a basement that didn't even have a kitchen or a stove. The person that rent them was their own kind. It was their own kind that takes you and feed off of you and suck you dry. So the reason for this is to let people know there are places that you can call and you have rights. There's rights for you. When we're finished here, we're going to let you know where you can go so that you won't go through this. I've had 2 people that became really good friends of mine that pretty well almost slept outside, because by the time they had their paycheck and they paid their rent, there was nothing left. You understand? I remember taking them in one of my rental property I only have one, I shouldn't say rental properties, one rental property, and I took them in there and they stayed there for a while. So this is a real issue, and this topic needs to be addressed. A lot of people come in here looking for a great life, and they get really put into a position which changes their heart. It breaks their heart. They make them get a harder, rougher, or meaner people. Unfortunately, you didn't become a mean person.
No.
You worked through it, right?
Yeah.
So now, it was hard in Winnipeg.
It was hard in Winnipeg because guess what? I didn't know, well, other than my church family, which is the RCG, other than my church family was really bent out and stood out for me. And when I was leaving to come to Calgary, my pastor was saying, you know, you'd have done anything for me to stay there. But at the same time, you know, we're not jumping the gun, and I'm not saying that my ex-wife is a bad person either, because at the same time, somebody can't just change like that because of, I wasn't abusing my wife. The cops started showing up at my apartment saying that I'm vandalizing the apartment. My wife called and said that I'm abusing her when this person is not home for months.
But you know that somebody else would think that there's always two sides to a story.
Yes.
Right? I don't know who that is, but I can't really see. It's too far. So again, you decided to come to Calgary because you were looking for a change, or you were saying that there has to be something better because you were left in this world by yourself.
You know what? Well, back to the paternity test. So I went and we did the paternity test. Of course, we went at different time because now I'm realizing that probably this child is not mine. So he went before me, a day before me. I didn't pay for a paternity test. It's $1,000 Canadian, and I'm not paying $1,000 Canadian for that. So she had to up all the bills. So I went there and I did my DNA test. And December 2014, which my birthday is December 10th, and it came on that day. And when I open it, you know, I had it in my hand and I open it, and when I open it, it says the child name is Jano, and it says within the case of that child, it's 0% chance that he's yours.
God.
But at that time, I wasn't living with them. I had already cut all ties. I was not seeing him because of what she said. If she came to court, she wouldn't take him with her. So I didn't see him, you know, and she's there at court with her friends because they have friends. But I'm there by myself. So anyway, when the cops keep on visiting, after I moved from there, I was in Manitoba. I just lived in two places. So I was living on Broadway and I was living on the north side of Calgary, you know. And then, you know, I just couldn't take it anymore because cops are visiting me. I was good off in job because I was an assistant manager for Subway. 5 franchises of Subway. I worked with them for 2 weeks. And my boss has been watching me on the camera, and she said this young man needs to be better than what he is in the store. And I was promoted to an assistant manager. I was working at the Radisson Hotel as a bellman, and I would get loads of tips and I would save it.
So on that note, you did a lot of jobs, which is good. In
Winnipeg, yes.
In Winnipeg. So you had a car.
Yes.
So you had a car, so you had to make car payments as well.
Yes.
And the car was in her name or your name?
My name.
So it was in your name.
Yes.
So you end up coming out here.
Yes.
With the car because you were looking for better.
Yes.
So again, the moral of the story, and we'll get back into a little bit more. The moral of the story is we really need to be aware of what we're doing when we take the step
of marrying someone from another country, and especially if you're coming and there is no family backative. Because if you're by yourself, then you sink because you're there by. I know that there are other international persons listening, but simple layman term in Jamaica, you're there by yourself. You know, I have the phobia, I have the fear. If God forbid, knock on wood, if anything should do me other than my church family that is here, I am here by myself, and I'm doing this all because I want better for my siblings.
So what this man is saying, he is here in this country alone, and he came from somewhere with a lot of substance, and being in Canada is sort of broke you a little. It took away a lot of your self-esteem. It took a lot of what you were stand for.
Am I doing?
You know, and which left him in a place. Christmas went by, and who did you spend Christmas with?
I was home by myself.
He was home by himself. So what I'm saying is, again, we really need to make the proper choices when we're going to make decisions that such harsh decision. We got to make sure we make the right decision to protect ourselves.
And I didn't travel because I didn't love my wife. Because me, a Jamaican, and me never want to leave my country. Right? I know that because my wife is Caucasian, and it is said, and a lot of persons, especially females, would say, oh, because she white. I love my wife. I did not want to come to Canada because of opportunities, because I was well known in the circle where I'm from in Jamaica. I had visas to the US and I didn't travel. So if that was the case, I would have traveled on my visa and didn't come back. I wouldn't return. You know, so when it becomes like this now, then you know what? I reached out and I called the president of the Jamaican Association here in Calgary, and I said to him, you know, I'm in the situation, and he gave me a number for a little lady, and I call her, and that's how I end up in Calgary.
So again, you guys, it's very, very important, and again, the reason why I am doing these lives, there's many people out there that come here that's been forced outside the homes, that has been forced outside whatever family member it is. Remember, Canada is a place that the temperature is not like the Caribbeans. So when they come here and they're forced to go outside, a lot of them are suffering, dying, or freezing to death. I know they say Canada is a good country and people are kind and safe. It's not that kind and it's not that safe. It's hard for me to go next door and borrow a cup of milk or a cup of sugar. In the Caribbean, where we come from, we can walk next door and we can borrow a cup of sugar. We can actually cook our food on our neighbor's stove. There's no way under the sun in Canada we can go to our neighbor and say, can I please put my pot on your stove because I run out of gas? Lit. That's what I'm trying to say to you guys. So on that note, we have to help each other. We have to be there for each other. And we have to have a platform where there's people that are coming here from all over the world, not just the Caribbean, but from other third world. They don't know what they're coming in. So we have to set some sort of barrier. There's something. If we talk about the Muslim people coming in, the Canadian government is right there and ready for them and has everything set aside for them. But when a Jamaican comes into the country, there's nothing set aside for us. And if they don't have somebody here, there's nobody here to help them. Not that I'm trying to break up the country and people and color, but I'm saying we need to make a platform where we have something substantial out there that we can help our peers when they do come, or any woman that's in a situation, or
a male. It doesn't have to be even monetary. You know, why have a building, or why have an association? Why do we have presidents? Why do we have vice president? Why do we have key holders for certain positions in our country? You know, why have an association if there's no help? What are we doing? What are we gathering? You know, it's just naive. If somebody need help, it doesn't have to be monetary help. It can probably be the person is hungry. Or it can be person need a place to stay until them go on their feet.
Absolutely.
You know, so in that case, I am giving God thanks because I have a car. I've never slept in my car. You know, and when all of this happened, and I go back home in 2015, maybe it was my fault, but I couldn't come back to Canada because the lady held on to my permanent residency card. But I pity she didn't know that I know people in Jamaica, so I had somebody at the Canadian embassy, and I went there and I said, listen, my card was mailed and I didn't get it. I traveled 3 times. I'm lucky without my PR card. Now I have it. You know, but those are things because you see, Canada is not like the US. Right? It's different. It's in a different ball game. Right? I'm married in the country, so there's no way I can be pushed out of the country. I'm a legal citizen, permanent residency of Canada. So I can work in any province. Any province I can work in. You know? But it has to be something that, you know, you have to be a go-getter. You can't just come here. And one of the things with us as Caribbean people, especially Jamaicans, because we're in a job and we're making good money, elevate yourself, go back to school,
That's a big thing for us. The education, we're lacking in it.
Yes.
And we don't want to take that. We don't want to. I don't know if it's that. I don't know if it's not that we don't want to take the chance or we don't have the time. I find that life here is hectic. It's just crazy.
It is hectic, but at the same time, because we're grown up in a society that because if we don't have 500,000 or 600,000 to attend college, and we didn't go to we do high school and we didn't get to go to college because we didn't have the opportunity to get 6 or 7 CXCs, and that's why we come here and we're doing a job and we're making $20 an hour and we're making $30 an hour, and then we don't elevate ourselves, but we need to elevate ourselves and we need to go back to school.
Education.
And don't fall in a category wherever you are. Don't fall in a category
education
where you are not safe.
So back to that again, you guys. I said that there was. I'm going to continue to let him tell you a little bit about the story as he entered into Calgary. So yesterday when I was talking on my live, I said to everybody that things are as they should be, and people come into your life for a reason and for a season. Nothing else. And nothing lasts, only eternal life. And I mentioned that yesterday, and I'm going to mention that again today. I did a live last night, and this gentleman caught the live, and he said he's been watching me, but he actually never spoke until last night. So when he spoke, we ended up talking on the phone, and after I got off the phone, we made arrangement to come here today. Now, it is so strange, because this is a man that I met 2 years ago. I met him 2 years ago at
the Center for Newcomers.
The Center for Newcomers. Okay? He had told me his situation, and I think I offered you to come and get something to eat.
Yes.
I can remember bits and pieces. I said, it's okay. I can get you something to eat, and that's me, Mrs. Helpit. But this man was so proud, he never even made that phone call. But every time we pass somebody through our path, I now know for a fact, and this happens over and over for me,
that they will return.
They will return, and his return is for a reason. Now, we're going to play this out because we got to find out what the reason is, and you're not going to find out today, tomorrow, the next day. But as time passes and as time goes, we will find out the reason why this man entered into my life again and now sitting on my live. So we'll continue the story about being in Alberta, being in Calgary, and I ran into him 2 years ago and found him on my live again, and here he is sitting with me, and now he's telling his story on my show. God is good, isn't he?
Amen. All the time.
All the time.
So yeah. So before coming to, I made a phone call and I spoke to the president. But before all of that, right? As you know, being in a country where you're an immigrant, so you can't open a bank account without
your identification.
And then you don't have that until. So my wife was some of the key holders on those positions.
So. Again, what kind of information can you give to somebody that has married and got here when it comes to those personal papers and their government papers?
Always make sure there is duplicate, and you must have the original.
No.
Give them the copy, and then you keep the original. But you'll have to figure out how you're gonna do that. So of course, I was a member of TD, and when I was working at the daycare, to be honest, the system for me was a little bit tiring because I never used the kids having their own way, because I taught in Jamaica for over 6 years. I opened my own school in Jamaica, and then it got to me, and I'm like, I just got up one day and just started crying and said to the director, I'm going. So anyway, within that space of time, I was still living at the house that the young miss was paying rent for. So when I decided to leave, and then when I leave, and then I go to the bank, and I'm like, oh, I got paid yesterday, and I got like $3,000 in my account. And then I'm like, mostly I went downtown Winnipeg, and I'm like, I need to draw this money and keep it on my person before anything, because I knew she had access to my account, and she wanted money from me that I didn't have. So I went downtown, and I went into TD, and I'm like, could I get $3,000 out of my account, please? And the teller looked at me and said, what are you talking about? I said, well, this is my pay stub. I got paid last night. and the teller says to me, is this account
A joint.
a joint? And I said, it is joint, but at the moment we are not together. But I didn't rush to the bank to take her off or anything, because it was her information she used to open the account, but it's my account. So when I stood there and I went to the teller said, well, young man, I'm sorry to say, but
She cleaned your clock.
there's nothing in the account. And I'm like, nothing? I had $3,000 in the account.
So again, I'm going to interrupt you, sorry. That is a very important thing. You can have a joint account with your husband and your wife, but you must have a saving account on your own.
And that's what happened to me. I opened a Scotia account and she didn't know about that, because guess what? I kind of figure things out as I go along and see what was happening.
But you should have put that money in the Scotia account.
Yeah, but because what happened to me lately, that's why I opened a Scotia account.
Okay, after.
Right? So I couldn't just, and then I had that account for my pay to my, but because what happened to me, my pay, my account, my pay was directly to that account. So yeah, she took it and she went online midnight, and they gave me a statement of the time that the money was drawn out of my account when we should be sleeping. And henceforth, that's how I end up here in Calgary. I was being targeted. I was at Subway. I was working at Subway. Her mom would just show up at Subway just buying one cookie to see what I'm doing. She would drop documents off, and I said to her, I have a lawyer. You don't need to drop anything off to me. You need to take it to my lawyer's office. So she was being a pest, and then she was calling the cops and telling the cops a lot of things. The last phone call I got from a cops, I said to him, I said, sir, you know what? I am on my way to Calgary. And the cop looked at me and said, that's the best thing you can do.
Okay, so let's address some of these questions right now. We're not going to be on too long tonight because this is not Sunday Tea. It's just Althea from Sunday Tea. But it's just something that we talked and you were really adamant about sharing it with people. So I thought I'd come on tonight. So somebody says to me, it's so mind-boggling how people can do that. It's very mind-boggling. I have an expression that I say, see somebody's face, you don't see the heart. We can never know, even the loved ones that love us and that cherish us, their face, their heart changes and we don't see it. So at the end of the day, no matter if you're married, in love, whatever you're doing, you need to protect yourself first, most. That's it. You come first. I'm not saying to disrespect, but I'm saying some things has to be left to you and everything. You understand? So you got to protect yourself in these situations. Another one says, with God on your side. Michelle says, hi Michelle, how you doing? She said, with God on your side, you will rise. Yes, I believe that. You have deep, deep faith, so you know that, and you can feel it.
Yeah.
Since I met you, you've put on triple the weight. Your face is healthy. You're good to go. You go back and forth to Jamaica, and your life is now changing, and it's enhancing to a better place. So yes, in everything we do, God is first and most.
First and foremost.
Another person here, Shami, says, others are watching with you. Others are watching with you. Okay. Okay, thank you. Timran says, wow, that happened to me already. I am not going to do that no more. Whoops, no more. That I am not playing with my money. So he's not playing with his money. He's going to be safe and watch it. And yes, you have a saving that belongs to you, and you have a joint account that belongs to you and him, and you guys pay your bills out of it. Equally. That works. Another Francis Blake Reese says, as they would say, drop down and no. Okay, thank you very much for making me try to read this. She said, as they would say, drop down na dead. You seem to be a man with strong determination. Preserve on, but on other level, don't harbor any hard feeling towards your ex-wife.
And I've never, I wish her and the child all the best
in the world. And that's true, because she still gave you an opportunity.
That's the thing.
And that's what we were talking today. People come into her life for a reason and a season. Yeah. And her reason is here. She brought you here for opportunity, and her season and her reason is up. Here we go. New talk, new thing. Mom said we'll have him in our prayer. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. He appreciates the prayer.
Thanks.
So now, okay, we address some people because I just don't like people talking and we're not addressing them. So we'll go on about Calgary. We can finish about you being here. Now, another part of this live is that our own kind, and this is going on the Caribbean people. I really have to put this in a pack because we say that we help, but we don't help. We always have a reason for things that we do, and it's not good. When a person is down on their face and they're facing their back is against the wall, don't know where to turn and where to come from. We don't know what their circumstances and their reasons. So if we run into somebody that's telling your story and you can actually prove that the story's right, let's not kick them any further on the ground. Let's please help. If they say they don't have a job and all they have left is $400 or $200 or $300, why don't we do something good by saying, you know what, I'll take $200 and I'll give you $200 to buy your food and to wait for your next check. That's helping. Helping is not taking everything or asking for $1,000 more. And this is not the first time that I've heard it. A lot of men that I've known that came here that ran into problems, that have stayed with another Caribbean person, was charged a arm and a leg for a room that was not developed, or there was no kitchen, or there was nothing available in it. Helping is helping. If you don't help with a good heart and good intention, we tend to lose our blessing.
Or just leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
Sabotage.
Yeah, there's no reason, there's nothing wrong with saying no. It is your choice if you don't want to help. But do not take somebody up that's on their face and kick them further into the wall.
But then again, you know, it's vice versa, because you have some of us who probably need the help, and then when we go into the people's place, we pretend that we are the boss. But we have to understand at the same time that if somebody's helping us out, you have to be humble. You have to be humble
ourselves.
Control yourself. If you're somebody who drink or smoke, don't even do it close to the house or close to them.
Have respect.
Control yourself. I know a lot of us as Caribbean males, we have very high sex urges. You know, if you're staying with somebody, why would you even bring somebody home? That's being disrespectful. Remember, a catch. You are catch. Right? So be mindful, be thankful, grateful, and be gratified that somebody would probably offer to help you. So anyway, when I came here, I spoke to
Hi, Kenny,
the then Jamaican president, and he gave me a number for a lady, and I went there. You know, she was very nice, auntie. Me come her here and me and her drink tea morning time and stuff, but you know, it was like $650, and I didn't have that because I came to Calgary with no money. I came with Calgary with nothing. My church gave me $300, and I came to Calgary. I buy gas along the way. Didn't know where I was going. You know, my friend punched me into the GPS. Did not know where I was going, and I came here. And you know, I lived there for 2 weeks, and I got a job. My first job here was working at a Subway, because I'm a trained Subway manager. And then working at the Subway, I find another job. I was working at Value Village. Very good Jamaican boss and nice Jamaican people around me, and for some reason I just didn't like doing the production, so I was like throwing out most of the good clothes, and they didn't like that, so I was asked to leave, which I was gonna leave them the next day anyway, so it was okay. So that's 2 jobs. So I was working with first job was working with Subway, then I work at Valley Village, and then working at Subway I met a lady who is a fleet manager for a certain moving company here, and she said to me, you know,
Did you elevate with that lady? Everybody that you've met in your path as you go along, you have either learned a lesson or you're elevated from them, right?
Yes.
So everybody's in your life for a reason to see.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
Absolutely.
because it was never you know what? I got hired on the spot to be a truck driver. I was driving a 7-ton truck. Me not I know how to drive them the truck because they were automatic. So she herself would have taken me and teach me how to drive it. But then when I go there, because it's a lot of work, because we are delivering, right? So sometimes we deliver stove, fridge, and sometimes the things are heavy. So my body was getting scratches. Like now I'm going to the gym and I have a good body, right? So I would probably do it now. But you know,
he has a good body now.
Yeah. So
lit.
And then guess what? I was when they hired me, I left Subway And in the winter there was like no job, but you know, you'd still probably get a little job on the weekends, and you know, to make up to pay your rent. But there was no job, and I'm like, I can't. I left Subway to come with you guys as a trucking company, and I did not have any job, you know. But they were good to me just the same, because the boss, he was very young boss. He, you know, and he would have, I would have gone to him and I've talked to him, and he would have given me a $500. I would have given me advances, because we could have gotten advances. And then I said, you know what, it's time for me to probably go out. And that's from Subway to Valley Village to my first job here, my third job here in Calgary was working at a daycare.
So this man is trying to tell you, sorry, I don't mean to cut you. He's trying to tell you he wasn't ashamed to work.
No.
He would have worked anywhere. He would have shoveled shit. He would have changed toilet. He would have been a maid. He would have done anything to put himself in a better position, right?
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people need to know. I did talk about pride the other day, because I feel that people's pride is holding them down. You know, and when it came to you eating, it didn't matter what kind of job you did, as long as it was elevating you to the next level. So, guys, don't worry about what kind of work you do. Do it to get yourself to the next level.
Yeah, that's the thing. And then even the guy who was at when I was working at Subway, Indian, very nice too. You know, I got the supervisor position. I started out with $12, and then he made me $14, which is good. And then, you know, because I got this excited truck driving job, because you make $150 a day, so it was really good, you know, when you're working on the regular. But when the season comes like this, the winter, there's nobody is buying any furniture. It's very rare, so you don't have no work, you know. And then I got this job at the daycare. I hit it. I love kids. I love working with kids.
So can you tell them a little bit about what you do with kids, because we have to wrap it up soon. So
okay, so basically what I do now, I work with Marlboro ECS. I'm an education assistant. I work with kids with high needs. So I work out of 5 different centers, and it has been going good. My first year was a little bit rocky, because of course I'm Jamaican, and I'm very demanding. I'm very demanding of my kids that I'm working with. So, you know, I would get coaching from my boss and said, you know, you have to leave them this way. If they don't want to do this, leave them. For me, if I have something for them to do, they have to stay and do it. But my boss said, you know, if they don't want to do it, it's no problem. You still get paid. Don't force them. So I've been working out of 5 or 4 different centers now. I mean, and every center that I've worked in, you know, I have plaques like, they just send like feedback. Probably you can't see it, but I frame them and put them up in my my little cave that I have. You know, I frame them because the directors send feedback to my boss, and they said they have never seen anybody like me, you know. So I've gotten quite a number of
and I mean, that's a fantastic thing to it's acknowledgement. He came through a very hard time, if you guys can see, and he worked really hard for what he got, and you know, he's proud of showing them, and that's good. And these stories that we're sharing to empower and enrich other people's life, we're hoping that everybody and everyone falls into any kind of position and spot can find a way out.
And then this is my first play. I was in a cast. I performed.
He performed a play. This is his first play. I don't know if you guys have heard about it.
The South Pacific.
The South Pacific.
As the only off-colored actor in the whole
only
entire.
colored actor. Woo!
Yeah. And then, of course, I was working at Five Guys. Sorry, not Five Guys. I was working at Carl's Jr. I was doing a good job, and I got all these comments. Every day I was gotten 100 comments by Guess Just Right. And my boss, we have this system, like every work of a system where they would send out text messages and say, big up somebody for getting 200 or 300 comments. And somebody went to my boss and told my boss, but I was getting fed up still, because I got 2 gold star, and to get that in a Carl's Jr. franchise, you have to be very good, you know. And somebody went to my boss and told my boss that I touched them, a female. Say I touch her. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Just because I got $200 bonus because of my comment, and I got 2 gold pinned, and I was well excellent in my job. And of course, wherever we go, prejudice is still around, because up to today date, I asked my boss, show me the camera. Show me where she said I touch her, because I am not that type of person. So
that's another story of workplace sexual harassment. Sorry, today is just more to let everybody know what's your struggle, and how hard it is to come from the Caribbean or any third world country, not just the Caribbean, not knowing much about the system, the place where I ran into you, for newcomers, you guys can go there. It's
on 36.
It's on 36.
Pacific Place.
And it's inside Pacific Place, and they help
everybody. They have everything there.
Everything. You can find your jobs there
Even
online.
If you don't speak proper English.
If you don't speak proper English, they'll
they have
help
English
you.
classes.
They have English classes.
For your kids, they have mentors that can help them.
They do your resumes for you. They also have another one for people that just came into the country. There's all kind of things that they're giving away. They're giving you your bank account. If you wanted to help to open a business, the government also will tell you your rights. They can send you online to research your rights as a permanent resident in Canada.
And the libraries also.
The library. If you don't have anywhere to go, you haven't owned a computer as yet. You haven't
Service Canada.
Service. You can go to the library, and each library. I don't think it costs very much for a library card.
No, it doesn't cost anything.
It doesn't cost anything. He says. I don't remember. And you can check through Service Canada online. And what you don't understand, there's people that works in there that will help you. Don't put yourself through such a hard time when there is things set in place out there to help immigrants that come into the country to be successful at what they're doing. And like you said, don't give up. He could have done something bad he could have got caught up in all kind of different things, but he chose to work it out and try hard. And the mercy of God has brought him to Alberta. And here he is, and he is doing fantastic. He's doing great. He's happy. He's been working out, because when I met him, he was very tiny. You weren't that big at all. And now he's huge, like a monster. It goes to say again, somebody said library cards are free. Yes, we just said library cards are free. He just said that. So they can get a library card. Anybody out there on the live knows any more information,
in terms of immigrants.
In terms of immigrants, you guys can share it on the live as well.
And then you can pass it out just the same.
And pass it out just the same. This is a platform for everybody to share what they know and to help. Again, please share my videos so that if there's anybody in need or need help, they can find it. You guys can find me on YouTube. You guys can find me on the Twitter, Facebook. My new show comes out June. My first episode, Island Tea with Althea. We are going to Sunday. I'm going to the Jamaican
Gala.
So I will be doing that live. It's the
Jamaican Association.
The Jamaican Associate of Calgary Northeast. I will be there live. You guys tune in for the festivity. This is the first time that I've ever been anywhere near there. So I'm gonna tell you what it is. We're gonna show you how it goes. Do we have any more questions here? I think we've been on long enough. Do you have anything else you want to say for the newcomers or for anything?
Well, basically, it just one thing I have to tell people, because we're living in a country that, a lot of people don't believe. But guess what? All you have to do is believe. Tell yourself that you can do it, even if you're not a good reader. The Center for Newcomer offers programs for persons who can't read. Elevate yourself.
And there's no shame in not knowing how to read. You got to remember that. There's no shame.
You're never too old to learn.
You're never too old to learn anything. And if you weren't taught how to read, it ain't your fault.
No, because that's common in our Jamaican society. It's common because a lot of persons go to high school, and from high school because of affordability. So it's not anything new we're talking about. I had that struggle too, where I was not able to help myself. And I'm shy sometimes if I get material and I don't know. I have to get my material at hand. But guess what? The best is yet to come, and I'm not giving up. I'm pushing for my family, and I'm pushing for my country, because my aim here is to put my country and my family on top. I'm going to make it here in Canada, and you all will see me, because politics is what the next thing I'm going to do.
So you guys, again, everything happens as it should. Please inform your friends, inform a neighbor, inform anybody that you guys know that are in a situation that you know of. If you know anybody that can help, please help. we thank you for listening to us, and we thank Damien for coming out here and putting himself out and to explain and educate us on certain things that we don't really know and that a lot of people are going through, and we really applaud you for doing such a thing. And you guys, thank you for tuning in again, and we're gonna leave you now. We'll see you later. I gotta go home. Goodbye.
Thank
see you
everybody.
later.
Take care and travel safe.
All right. Bye-bye.